Hello guys, Belle here. I wanted to give you guys a little look at what it's like to change your artifact weapon things. I did acquire some relics and I did acquire some artifact power that I haven't used yet because I wanted to be able to showcase that. Now, in case you guys haven't seen the artifact weapon preview videos, I want to make sure that you guys understand kind of what the artifact is going to entail as far as being able to augment it. Now, we talked about your artifact, you're being able to unlock your traits in previous videos, but basically these traits, you unlock these with artifact power. Now, I've quested, I'm level 104, I think, and I've been questing because I want to be able to unlock the higher level dungeons as well as the raids so that I can highlight those on the channel as well. But in my questing, I did acquire a lot of artifact power. So I got this 845 artifact power from level 102 or level 101 to level 104. That's literally just one full zone of questing. So I did acquire it pretty easily, and I want to make sure that I showed you guys here. So for your relics and for your artifact power, you get it doing questing, you get it finding it in the treasures around the different zones, you get it for a variety of reasons, and then once you get it, they're all called something different. There's different amounts of artifact power that you'll collect. I've collected several 100 artifact powers and stuff like that. So basically, when you get the artifact power itself, you're going to go ahead and you're going to right click on it, and then that's going to, as you see the bar down here, that shows the artifact power that you do have. So let's click back into that. So now, as you see, it's now bumped my artifact power up to 880. And then I'm going to go ahead and just use the other one just so that you guys can see the difference. So now that's both, and now that's 900 artifact power. So because of the traits here, these are unlockable in certain fashions, right? So it's important to kind of look ahead, similar to the old talent trees. You want to kind of look ahead to see what is more important on your priority list, right? Like, what is your end game as far as what traits you want to unlock quicker, and being able to select the right one is really going to make a difference in which direction you go quicker. So you're going to want to be cognizant of that, and you're going to want to be aware ahead of time of the things that you want to take advantage of as far as the artifact weapons are concerned. So I do have that artifact power to be able to do with what I may, which is to be able to unlock different things. And then I'm gonna kind of look ahead and kind of see what it is I'm looking for to decide which direction I want to go. Now, for me, as a Destruction Warlock, I know that there's a couple things that are super important to me. So with some of the changes with Destruction, they have a talent where Fire and Brimstone was changed, where it used to just be an ability that we had. It's now a talent, and it's changed in the effect of Incinerate is its purpose, and Incinerate is a area now. So with that being area, and because I'm a Destruction Warlock, Incinerate is a main filler for me. So this is going to be where the bulk of my damage comes from while I'm generating my soul shards using my Conflagrate. So with that in mind, that's going to be something that's really important for me, because it does increase that, and I can increase the rank. But also being aware, the larger, more important traits, which are the ones with the golden dragons, those are really going to be the ones that are going to be super helpful in a lot of occasions as well. So it's one of those moments where it's like they gave me, two different variations here as far as, being able to, after casting Life Tap, you take 10% less damage for 6 seconds. I don't really care about that. I also don't care about Drain Life having a 15% chance to increase its damage versus, say, your Incinerate or even your Rain of Fire. Now, specific to Destruction, they gave Rain of Fire a nice buff, but they also made it where it had a cast time. You couldn't run and cast it anymore. And that was obviously to avoid Warlocks being able to kind of tap multiple mobs, which I know was a pain point, and I am guilty of doing that myself. But I appreciate, the balancing that Blizzard did there. But anyway, this is not a Destruction video, so I do apologize about that. So let's talk about the way I'm going to go. Now, this also has some other things that are going to be unlockable that are going to be important to me. Reducing the cast time of my Incinerate, that's huge. Chaos Bolt has a 5% chance to refund a soul shard. Increase critical strike damage, which our Chaos Bolts are already severely overpowered anyway, but any little beef up there is nice. And then, of course, the final thing in this little row here is Incinerate has a 4% chance to grant a charge of Dimensional Rift. Now, Dimensional Rift is huge for the artifact weapon because that's going to be your on use. So I think I'm probably going to go in the direction of going ahead and selecting that one. Now, as you see, that opened that, and I can do it one more time, and then if I had more juice to be able to do it a third time, it would then open. So now I know that my next amount of artifact power that I need, that I'm going to go ahead and use it here. At any given time, you can change it. You can refund, you can make different changes to it. That's just going to be up to you. But I wanted to show you guys how this thought process works so that you guys could get comfortable in realizing that you're going to really have to prioritize your artifact weapon here. That's going to be really key to what you're doing. So now let's talk about the relic slot. So you start off with 2. Once you complete, you have to complete your Warlock Order Hall campaign in order to be able to unlock the 3rd relic slot. So throughout your questing and doing your getting your rewards from your quests, you'll get some artifact relics. You'll also find them in different treasures. So keeping these is going to be a #1 goal, and it's also going to be super important to remember that being able to use this is a socket, right? So you're going to socket it into something, and the cool thing is when you hover over each relic, it'll tell you what that's going to help with, right? So it's going to add a rank to my Master of Disaster here, which is great because then I don't have to buy that with my artifact power. So that's pretty awesome here. And then another thing to note is what it gives you. So each one, whether it's fire or fel or another fel, and what it's going to give you, this is also going to help you prioritize when you're going to socket it. So when you socket, you want to consider this similar to when you socket jewels into something, because that's basically that's what's happening here is the socket. Now, because this is going to give me the 3rd rank of this Incinerate, which is important to me, I'm going to go ahead and socket. I'm going to go ahead and socket that just because that's what I want. I want that. So I'm going to socket that. It's going to pop it in there. It automatically pops me to 3. Now, if you see the total damage this gave me, and it gives me an extra rank, which is amazing, this gave me 12%. So when I use another artifact power here to another set of artifact power to get it to rank 4, we're looking at even more increased damage from one of my main filler spells, which is huge here. So I just wanted to make sure that I highlighted that. Now, I'm not going to actually socket this. The reason being is just because I don't want to waste it, right? I want to make sure that I'm going to keep this in here. I'm a hoarder also, so that helps. And I'm also going to just leave this open to see if I find something in the fire realm that's better. Now, if you haven't watched the previous videos, each weapon is going to have a different set of things. So a couple things that I wanted to make sure that I noted here when it comes to the relics and your artifact power. So we know already that we're going to have to acquire this artifact weapon on all the specs that we want to play of that class. The cool thing here is if you want to save your relic slots for different weapons, like say one day I wake up and by the miracle of the gods I want to be Affliction, which would never happen in a million years. But if I'm going for my Affliction weapon and I have a nice little bank of some of these options here and some artifact power that I don't use, I save it until I have that weapon equipped, because your artifact power, when you use that power, it's going to go towards whatever weapon you have equipped. So if you swap to Affliction or Demonology and you change that, you can then use that extra artifact power. So I think that this is going to be really good when it comes to gaining this power on alts. So if you do a lot of things on your main and you're like, this is kind of crappy because I feel like I can only do this stuff on the specialization that I'm trying to build this power on, you could totally use your main as a means to farm that for your other specializations. This is great for tanks. This is great for tanks that have a DPS spec, and this is great for healers. I mean, this is really a good use of your artifact power and your relics. So you definitely want to save these. Now, although each weapon will have a different set, typically of the same class, like I'm pretty sure Demonology and Affliction both have a fell socket. So you'll be able to use those for other things. So you definitely want to make sure that you don't throw these away. The great news is here, guys, with the new appearance tabs, they really made it easy for you because that takes away from your bag space and your bank space. So that means you have extra space to store the artifact weapon stuff. So it's my opinion that if you're working on multiple specs and you're swapping back and forth, that you can totally use your main with its full artifact power to be able to farm the artifact power for being able to unlock your traits or and your artifact relics that you do find throughout Legion. So these aren't that difficult to come by, and because they all do something completely different, and as you see, it hovers over, being able to do this, and that's part of the reason that I chose to go ahead and levels. I wanted to be able to have a bigger knowledge going into this, so as you guys are doing all your research and vamping up kind of how the artifact weapon's going to be, you can already kind of have a thought process in place as to how you want to utilize it. So as you see now, you know, my Incinerate, since my Incinerate's my filler, and with my Fire and Brimstone, I'm going to get a lot of damage spread. It's going to be a lot of area damage that's going out. So definitely excited about that. That's going to be pretty useful, and I wanted to make sure that I highlighted how you guys could go about saving your artifact power for alts, or for alt specs. I mean, obviously they're soulbound, so it would only be good if you have multiple specs that you want to utilize and get the weapon for. So yeah, I wanted to make sure I highlighted that. Now I also wanted to highlight the fact that you can in fact go for a second weapon. If that's your choice, your class hall will have that. If you go for it, it'll say, hey, do you want to go for your Demonology? You can select it, and then when you swap specs, you'll be able to then go, you'll be able to acquire that doing the quest line. Now, as we talked about before, each artifact quest line is going to be different, so you're not going to be going through the same content. So I want to make sure that I also highlight that because that's important. If you want to have it on all specs for your class, you can do that without feeling like you're just regurgitating content, and the artifact acquisition quest lines are not that difficult. So I'm glad I got to be able to show you guys that different stuff. I am working on unlocking appearances so that you guys can see how that works. But I hope you guys enjoyed this artifact weapon breakdown. It was really important for me to be able to showcase to you the different options you have when it comes to your artifact power as well as your relic slots, and be able to show you what that looks like when you are using it. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you are new to PWNCAST, make sure you subscribe so that way you can stay up to date on all the Legion news, videos, and guides that we do provide here on the YouTube channel. And if you are watching this video, you might as well go ahead and give it a thumbs up because it was good information that you guys got, and you know I deserve it. But I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.